This is Louie, and if you want to support my channel, head on over to Play Asia. If you don't want to support me there, head on over to J-List. Thank you for supporting my channel, and be sure to look out for new content. All the links can be found in the description.
So this is Louie, and unfortunately, I'm not doing so well in explaining this Gillette ad. That's the topic of this commentary. You're going to notice that my voice is going to be a little bit more shot, and that I am going to be speaking in a more monotone voice in this. And the reason is that my original take was very emotional. I got very angry about this ad because it is one of the worst, if not the worst ad that I've ever seen. This ad is unspeakably bad. It is malicious. It is evil. And I think a lot of people, just out of malaise or out of personal laziness, or just they've gotten used to these kind of ads, they are completely bypassing the messages in this video. This is not just another bad advert with a fuck men attitude. And what I'm going to do is showcase the examples. We're going to break down this video. It's less than 2 minutes long. I'm going to do my best to contain myself and just explain why I think this ad is evil. It takes a certain kind of mind to come up with this kind of ad. The content that's included in it, beyond the idea of, oh, men are bad and they're goofy and all that, there's something beyond just that in this ad, and it is unbelievable. It is shocking, and I think a lot of people, just out of malaise, just out of apathy or laziness, they are not explaining the two themes of this ad. Well, what are those two themes? The first is dependence. And I don't know whether they are implying through the state or on corporate America. Whomever it is, one of the major themes of this ad is dependence. And I'll explain to you and show you which sections are pushing that. The other theme in this ad is a rejection of fatherhood. I can only explain in that it is so objectively obvious that it is something that is inescapable about this ad. If you say that this is just a vague fuck men ad, you are not doing your research. All one needs to do is click on their manifesto on their fucking website, and I'm going to calm myself down. You'll realize immediately by seeing that the organization that they're using to forward this manifesto is the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. That is a children's organization. That is not an adult organization. This is specific to children and fathers. So like I said, dependence and the rejection of fatherhood. Those are the two big messages of this advert. They do include some other things like, oh, sexual assault, and, you know, the vague idea that some asshole in a corporate boardroom is trying to prevent his female colleague from running their company into the ground, like the woman that ran HP, or the woman that runs YouTube, or the woman that runs fucking Disney, or actually Lucas Arts, or whatever the fuck. There are many examples of gender, activist women in corporate America that are in the process of running their companies into the ground, respectively, to each company. So I'm saying that up front, we're just bypassing that section of this video, because in all honesty, that's not what it's about. It's not about that. That is a red herring that is inserted into the ad to murky the waters of the actual two arguments in this video. It is to dilute the evil of this ad.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Previously, I got extremely angry about this particular section of the video, about bullying. I've already done a video on bullying where I screamed about it, and I said that the solution to bullying is to stand up to your bully. I gave a personal anecdote, and I did in my previous take as well, regarding how that's how I solve the issue of bullying. There's also the fact that if you are bullied and you stand up to your bully, they could become your friend. That has happened to me, and I've had a bunch of people reach out to me and say that exactly happened to them. And rather than in my case where we stopped hanging out or communicating after high school, there's people that are best friends with a former bully when they were in middle school or whatever, and they're still friends now. Best friends. That to me is the argument for why you should stand up to your bully. You should not listen to mommy. You should not listen to your teachers. You should not listen to your administrators. You should not listen to the people that are trying to shelter you from adversity. You should listen to daddy. You should listen to me. And you should stand up to your bully. Only good can come of it. And the solutions that have been tried for the last 60 years, there's been 60 years, an active campaign for those many decades of anti-bullying efforts. And it's been from mommies. The solution that mommies have is to hug their kid and to make their kid a fucking pussy. And to enable them to later on go into school with an AR-15 or some pistols and kill all their classmates. Your solutions to anti-bullying lead to dead kids and mass shootings. I'm just stating that. I'm not going to scream it. I'm not going to get angry. But I'm telling you that my solution leads potentially to respect or friendships, and your solutions for the last 60 years have led to deaths. And yes, for those of you that are out there that are anti-bullying activists saying, oh, tell a teacher, I'm putting all those dead children on your shoulders. I'm doing that. You have blood on your hands because you are not breeding functional children that turn into functional adults. You are churning out generations of dysfunctional, neurotic, narcissistic, defective adults. Those are the generations you're turning out. What we need less of is coddling from mommy. What we need more of is discipline from daddy. Daddy who, like I will, when I have children, I'm hoping I do someday, when I'm a father, I'm going to tell my kids that when they go to school, if someone gets physical with you, if someone is bullying you, threaten to fight them. And if you have to, fight them. All I want to hear from you is when you come home, or if I have to pick you up from school, whether you won or lost that fight. Because if you won, the problem very likely has been remedied. It has been solved. And if you lost and they're still your bully, then I'm going to have to take you on the weekend to learn some mixed martial arts so that next time around when they try to mess with you again, you win that fight. And there's a great chance that right then it is finally over. And there's the potential that that person, if you can get past your differences, respect one another, let go of your grudges, you can become friends. My solution leads to potential friendships. Your solution, mommies of the world, lead to dead kids.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long.
I'm going to pause momentarily to point to this scene and indicate that this is a progressive narrative. There is no scientific basis to say that life reflects art. My opinion is, and based on all the science that I'm aware of, it says that art imitates life. And that when children watch TV, play video games, and the rest of it, it doesn't lead to women being harassed, raped, or anything else. I completely bypassed the whole Me Too thing that this video started out with because all that results in is me screaming and taking your collective guilt that you're trying to put on men. I'm taking it away from you and I'm trying to put it on progressives, male feminists. Because I don't know if you've realized by now, but if you look at male feminists, if you look at journos that are all male feminists and progressives, you look at progressives in general, if you look at self-avowed feminists and self-avowed male feminists like Harvey Weinstein, who ranted and raved about women for president, supported Hillary Clinton, and was a major leftist donor for decades, it's those men that are the ones raping, molesting, assaulting, and maligning women. It's not, in fact, Donald Trump. It's not, in fact, jocks. It's not, in fact, right-wing or conservative men. The more trad-con you get, the harder it is for that man to be a rapist, to be a sexual predator. Because traditional conservatives, they don't view women that way. They see themselves as the true white knights of women. They're not like male feminists in that they're not duplicitous rapists, future convicts, but they are chauvinists. And that doesn't lead to men groping women and all the rest. Traditionalist conservatives don't do that. They're the ones fucking beating the table with a Bible, screaming about, no sex until after marriage. That's their shtick. It's all the male feminists saying how they're good male allies. They're the ones that keep going away for fucking rape and shit. So if anyone's getting that ownership of that collective guilt, it ain't fucking right-wing men. It ain't conservative men. It isn't the dude bro jocks. It isn't the frat bros. It's the male feminists. Because for the last 10 years, it's been glaring. Almost all of the Me Too big names, they've all been leftists. Life doesn't imitate art. Art imitates life.
We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy? What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
So this clip is the worst part of this entire commercial. It is the most evil part of this commercial. Because I don't know about any of you, but I value my father. I don't believe my father to be interchangeable with any other father. The person that made this advert, I don't understand you. Do you love your father? Do you love your family? Do you have affection for your father, any at all? Any respect for him in terms of his role in your life? Did your father rape you? Are you damaged? Do you have some issue? Do you have some mental deficiency, some mental defect? Are you a sociopath? What the fuck is wrong with you? The message in this scene is that fathers, not men, fathers, are disposable, interchangeable cogs that could just be replicated to infinity. They're just all like each other. There is no difference between fathers. There is no difference between men as fathers. I can't fathom the mind that thinks that this is moral. I'm not even playing this up. I'm restraining myself to such a degree that I don't know if I've ever done it in another video before, to the degree that I am now. I can only begin to tell you how angry this section of the video makes me. How little care this person, whoever the fuck made this, how little love they have for their father. To see this as moral. To put this in an ad and sell this to people. I said it in my original take, and I have said it in the past, but in my opinion, this is the example to show to anyone, to illustrate that our society, the United States, our culture is sick. Our society is sick. We have a problem. And this is one of those moments. This is one of those examples. The person that made this doesn't love their father. Because that is the only way that I can conceive of how someone could make this an ad and think it's fucking moral. The idea that your father, any father, is just another interchangeable cog. Standing in the distance, grayed out, apathetic, just grilling, just doing their own thing, not concerned with the lives of their children, not concerned with their safety. When men like my father, for how many decades, sacrificed every fucking day of the week for me. It's unbelievable to me that any person with any love for their fucking family could make an ad like this. How many decades did your father sacrifice for your family? How many days in the week did they spend their time giving their all for you, selflessly? All the fathers that looked past their own lives, sacrificed their own lives, sacrificed their health, their time, for their family, for their children. What kind of fucking person thinks that dismissing all of that out of hand is moral? What kind of fucking person thinks that this is moral? For the life of me, I don't understand how people are looking past this sequence in this ad. It is unspeakable. It is evil. I cannot begin to tell you how little this person thinks of their father and of fatherhood generally. The idea that people should just view their father in this sense. I mean this genuinely. I have never seen an ad like this before. I'm just going to have to move on. Like, I could spend the next hour trying to express, like, I'm failing to find the words, in my opinion, to really emphasize what I mean by this, but this section of the ad comes across as fucking sociopathic. Someone who is incapable of love. That is how this comes across. I have never seen anything like this in my fucking life. That wasn't from like a goddamn horror movie.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says it's
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
The second women hold each other accountable for their shit is the second that I'm willing to entertain your bullshit. They're Mr. Black guy, who I forget your name, who was raped by some other, probably a leftist in fucking Hollywood. Why don't you blame your fucking rapist who you kept your mouth shut about? Why don't you put the ownership where it belongs? I didn't do anything to you. I never covered it up. You covered up what happened to you. You kept your mouth shut. And the minute women as a collective own their shit, that's when men will own their shit. And guess what? That's not how it works, and it's never gonna fucking happen. So for the sake of our society remaining sane, let's just get past this collectivist bullshit. How about that? Try that out for a few years. Stop pushing this collectivist bullshit, and I'm just gonna calm down. We're just moving on.
Smile, sweetie. Come on.
To say the right thing.
So I'm gonna set something up for you. Quick look at this guy's face. How does he look? He's getting in this guy's face. He's telling him off. And he kind of has this alpha look to him. Like, you better step the fuck back, you better step down, or you're going to have to deal with me. I get that kind of vibe from this guy, but maybe I'm reading too much into this. Let's just wait.
To act the right way.
Bro, not cool, not cool.
Once again, the same kind of thing. A guy sees a pretty girl and says, "Hey, what's going on?" Starts to look like he's going to catcall her as she's walking by. A guy comes out of nowhere. It's pretty obvious it's a stranger. Physically restrains him. Says, "No, stop." Physically restrains him. But hey, that's just 2 for 2 in terms of that particular message. I'm just reading into things. Let's let it go.
Some already are. In ways big and small.
I am strong.
And I don't give a shit this girl's fucking 3 years old. That only makes this more of just vapid virtue signaling. You're not strong for declaring yourself strong. You're strong by being strong. You know how I know you're strong? By acting strong, by being strong. You don't look at your own reflection like narcissists and say, "I am strong." Why don't you read some Nietzsche? That's what I need you to do. Stop being a collectivist weakling. And I'm just going to calm down again. Stop being a collectivist weakling. Read some fucking Nietzsche and understand that when you are strong, that's when you are strong. You are what you are. I know how that sounds, but you are strong only when you act strong. When you look at your own reflection and declare yourself strong, you are weak.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay?
So we have examples 3 and 4 of the exact same thing. Physical restraint. You have a random dad physically restraining 2 kids that are fighting on the lawn. Nothing says that this is actually his kids. And another adult, which we know is not the father of any of those kids, physically restraining these other kids. For anyone who knows the law better than I do, is physically restraining a child a misdemeanor or is it a felony? Is it felonious? Let me know whether that's a misdemeanor or whether that's felony assault. Let me know. Because I know that when you're not the father of a child, you don't have the right to physically restrain a child. But in terms of physically restraining, we have 4 examples in a row of that exact thing. I kind of have a problem with that. Does that come across to anybody as healthy? As something that you should do as a parent? Or as a random stranger physically restrain kids? Or as a random guy on the block physically restrain a guy who's trying to fucking flirt with a girl? You see a guy, hey, you look pretty today. You grab him, push him against the wall? Is that what you're fucking proposing here, Gillette? Because that sounds like felonious conduct to me.
Okay. Because the boys watching today.
See this right here? Of the guy putting his hand on the boy's shoulder going, hey, you okay? Now that I've physically restrained those kids that were bullying you, are you okay? Now that I've committed a felonious act, are you okay? You know what this is? This is mommy. This is mommy putting your head in her bosom going, you're okay, little boy, you're okay. This is this. This is daddy becoming mommy. This is dependence. This is weakness. This is rejecting fatherhood and replacing it with motherhood. This is the exact same thing. This is advocating random guys on the block or random fathers to start using physical force against men or boys not acting by the progressive line. If you're acting out of line with progressive dogma, you're going to get physically restrained and told off. 4 examples, 4 in a row of that exact attitude. And daddy becoming mommy. None of this is healthy. None of this is respectful of the fact that dysfunctional families, overwhelmingly, the dysfunctional families, the dysfunctional children that grow up to be dysfunctional adults, they're in single-parent households, and they are overwhelmingly single mothers. Go find a random conservative in your area, or your neighbor who's a conservative, Trump sign in his lawn or wears a Trump hat or something like that, grab him and say, hey, do you know what happens in fatherless households? They'll tell you. They'll say, hey, there's a lot of statistics that show that fatherless homes result in completely dysfunctional children. Hashtag not all, but hell of a lot. Way too many result in dysfunctional adults. I hate to break it to America's left, to the leftists in this country who I fucking hate, that are apparently composed of fucking sociopaths who hate their fathers. I hate to tell you this, you guys, but the conservatives won on this. You lost. Daddy state is not a substitute for a father. Boys and girls, but especially boys, need fathers in the household. And I think that what those of us that are still on the left have to do is work with conservatives to get fathers back in families. We need more families with fathers. We need more marriages that last, that don't end in divorce and end with families separated between father and mother. Dysfunctional families in that regard. We need families. We need households with fathers in them. Because overwhelmingly, fathers will sacrifice everything for their families. I don't understand the idea that, and I'm not even going to repeat myself, fuck it, it's not worth it. My experience with my father, every friend that I've ever had and their father, and many of you listening to this right now, your fathers, they have all been willing to sacrifice for their family, for their household. Overwhelmingly, that is true of fathers. This is a sign of the rot in our society, of the sickness in our society and culture. It is sick. There's something wrong with America. And it's shit like this. This is a telltale sign that something has gone wrong. But I'm just going to leave it here. And what I would like for those of you, more so than sharing this video, anything like that, leave a comment. I want to hear what people think about this fucking ad. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear what people have to say about this, because I thought this ad was disgusting. I've never seen anything like it, and I think the people that are behind it are fucking sociopathic. But I'll just leave it there. Thanks for listening.